again. And now they have a shot to cement their legacy as an expansion team by winning our Grand Finals in Philadelphia.
Locks them in the south barrier.
That's a huge
the bomb coming from Jono. Oh my God, a kill! He does it again!
They've done it, continuing to show us why they are the very best in the Overwatch League.
Janu though, gets 2, gets 3, with the whole hog of 4K, making it near 5K for Janu's big K! Janu kills everyone!
They were a dominant force in their first season as a franchise. They set the Overwatch League record for most consecutive wins, and they nearly won it all.
Welcome to the stage, the Vancouver Titans!
But after less than a year, the Vancouver Titans imploded. The incredible roster that reached the Overwatch League Grand Finals left scattered.
Emergency stream as we've gotten big news regarding the Vancouver Titans and Overwatch League. An official statement was released by the Vancouver Titans. Speaking of release, they've released their entire roster.
And their replacements came nowhere close to matching their results. They went from a top team in one season to one of the league's worst performers in the next.
This is brutal. This is one of the most one-sided rounds of Overwatch I think we've casted all year long, and honestly, ever. This has been tough.
Yeah. Titans, we had hoped that this might be a week for them to sort of find their footing and continue to regroup, continue to play together as a team. They look uncoordinated, individually, overextending, and the Outlaws just completely punished them. And there just was a turning point, I think, in this series where the Outlaws just completely stopped respecting the Titans.
Alleged issues with player accommodation, player salaries, and lack of a team training facility led to an unprecedented entire roster change mid-season, kickstarting a dramatic and swift fall from grace. So, here is the rise and fall of the Vancouver Titans. Our story begins years before the Vancouver Titans even existed, with a South Korean Overwatch team called RunAway, a team with an incredible journey in their own right.
This is one of the most storied teams in the whole of Overwatch, honestly.
Funded by YouTuber and streamer couple Runner and Flowervin, the team was financially stretched. Few big-name sponsors, star players leaving for bigger orgs, and no team facility, at least in the early days. Despite this, the group often punched above their weight in the Korean Overwatch Apex tournament where they primarily competed. But RunAway were all too often runners-up. They narrowly lost 4-3 on 2 occasions in the Apex Finals, letting a 3-1 lead slip in Season 2, and at the APAC premiere in 2017, again, they left as runners-up.
For the second time, RunAway will fail in a Game 7 of an Apex Finals, and I can't even imagine what it feels like right now to be in this booth here.
But the team were determined to take home a major trophy, and they finally did at Season 2 of Overwatch Contenders, rallying back from a 3-1 deficit to clinch the victory.
Oh my God, the Bucks almost time, but it's not enough!
It's not enough! Gonna plummet, and that just to be it! RunAway, they finally got it! The third attempt, they get the championship win! We got more confetti, don't worry guys! We're gonna pop some more off! The third time out, they manage to push themselves over the finish line. They get the victory all the way to 8 maps, all the way to 3 rounds on Ilios, but they finally do it!
They did it!
They were the ultimate underdogs, ones with a never-say-die attitude. The little fish in the big pond who, after so many second places, finally had their Cinderella moment. As the Overwatch League added 8 new franchises ahead of the 2019 season, the Aquilini Investment Group, owners of Canadian hockey team the Vancouver Canucks, purchased an expansion slot for an estimated $30 to $60 million, according to ESPN, giving birth to the Vancouver Titans.
Today, we release the Titans.
And through the newly formed franchise, the stars aligned for the entire RunAway roster to join Overwatch's major leagues. The team relocated from South Korea to a lavish mansion house across the world in California to begin their journey as the Vancouver Titans.
It's been a long time
dreams of playing in this league.
And while many new OWL franchises brought players from various different teams together, the decision to sign a full, already close-knit roster seemed to work out perfectly for Vancouver. Their sheer talent and pre-existing team chemistry took the Overwatch League by storm.
저는 이 경험들이 오버워치 리그에서 좋은 역할을 할 거라 생각합니다.
They do. This team already did win a championship in Korea when they played in Contenders Korea. And they're a very experienced group that has played together for quite some time now. I think the core has been together since 2016. The coordination, the communication, the cohesion is actually unmatched.
Stay alive.
Okay, Stitch now in position. This is the toughest part for the Dragons. They just need to be stable here. Look at the
Like it from behind the Deadeye coming down. The pharmacy cop is right out of there. Ding and Coma both say goodnight. Another shot, the headshot there onto DM, takes him out, the hit onto Geggery in midair. And in style, Vancouver Titans glide into the finish on Dorado.
4-0 and their opening debut here in the 2019 Overwatch League season. Absolutely dominant. We saw so much of what has made this team strong in Korea already here.
Kill got too deep, a little bit too quick. The grab not working out. Oh, Janu manages to get the 4K. The Titans with the crucial play at the very end. I think Slime might have gotten a boop there himself as well to set that up. Any way you slice it, that's going to be Vancouver Titans taking the series.
The Titans started the season with an incredible 19 straight victories, breaking the winning streak for any Overwatch League franchise. No teething problems adapting to a new league, no chokes, and no visible nerves. This incredible run included the Stage 1 playoff title and the $200,000 prize that went along with it, defeating the talented San Francisco Shock.
They will be the Vancouver Titans, your Stage 1 champions.
But the Titans didn't stop there. They continued to dominate game after game in near flawless fashion, ending the season ahead of all 19 other teams with an incredible 25-3 record. And their Grand Finals run was no walk in the park either. In the Season 2 playoffs, a 4-2 victory against 8th-seeded Seoul Dynasty saw them face the dangerous Los Angeles Gladiators. After a close competitive start, the Titans raced away to claim another 4-2 win, advancing to the winner's final round.
It's going to actually be Raw stepping up to the plate. Solomons was able to find Big Goots, and Jana's going to go for a big rabbinic flux to try and hit it. No! They've lost Raw over the edge. Slime sends him packing with the boot. And the Vancouver Titans, another step towards glory. They will set themselves up. They'll be in that winner's final.
And against Atlantic Division leaders New York Excelsior, the match went down to a decider on Map 7. Their entire season hung in the balance, and despite their history of coming up short in this position back when they were RunAway, the Titans held their nerve, knocking out the second-seeded team and earning them a coveted spot in the Grand Finals.
And man, so much hype coming in about this team at the beginning of the season. They were huge in Korea's team RunAway, and now in the Overwatch League, taking a quick trip to the Grand Finals.
And so, here they were. A franchise that didn't exist less than a year ago had surged all the way to the grandest stage in Overwatch.
Main Tank just joined the starting lineup for the postseason and hasn't lost a match yet. Welcome to
And although they came up short against the San Francisco Shock, defeating some of the top teams to reach the Grand Finals was a remarkable achievement all on its own. This campaign was a monumental success for Vancouver, and the Titans were poised to remain a powerhouse in the Overwatch League. They had a proven roster, invaluable experience, and the confidence boost of an excellent first season. And from the outside looking in, it seemed this forward momentum could only continue. Well, that's not how this story played out.
Just like a lot of things with Overwatch League this season, it was really awkward, it was very sloppy, and it's ending in a mess. And now we're left in a situation where a lot of these players might have to retire from Overwatch League.
When the COVID-19 pandemic swept the world, the players returned to South Korea, causing a rift between roster and franchise, bringing to light issues in the relationship that would suddenly leave the Vancouver Titans in mid-season disarray. The fall. There were problems from the very start. Of course, the time difference between Korean-based players and North American-based management was a challenge, but more than that, the Titans did not provide a new facility for the team to play from or live in, meaning they were forced to play in their own separate houses or apartments. In an interview with Canadian media outlet Sportsnet, Vancouver Canucks head of esports team operations Alfred De Vera said the players had expected team facilities in Seoul similar to what they were used to in North America, but it wasn't financially viable for the company to do so. The entire situation was in stark contrast to the extravagant Los Angeles house the players initially lived in, and the state-of-the-art Adamas esports training and performance facility where the players moved to ahead of the 2020 season. The loss of crucial team infrastructure was immediately apparent. While playing separately from their own homes, the Titans lost their next 2 games convincingly.
There's the window. Fire Strike's not going to connect. They're going to go around the side. Flux is going to come up, and now Happy launches it to the air. Oh, it's so good though, but they don't touch! Oh no! They don't touch. GG's all around and Charge end up taking the map and the series 3-0. 2 series 3-0 back to back.
This is not the Vancouver team that we expected to see. This is a team with way too much talent to let that happen, but I guess conversely, like, we already did all the caveats for why Vancouver didn't play well.
In the weeks that followed, numerous players and the Titans coaches removed all association with the franchise from their social media. This was instantly noticed by fans, and speculation of turmoil within the team grew. That speculation was proven at least partially right when head coach Pajian and 2019 MVP finalist Janu split with the Titans on April 30th, 2020, with Janu's statements on social media suggesting he desperately wanted out. Then, a week later, the franchise officially released the entire roster.
We've gotten big news regarding the Vancouver Titans and Overwatch League. An official statement was released by the Vancouver Titans. Speaking of release, they've released their entire roster. Hacksaw, So-Min-Soo, Slime, Stitch, Twilight, Ryu Jahong, Yang1, Andante, even Fisher, Tyler, even Fisher, gone.
And for me personally, like, it's just really sad. Like, this is an insanely good team that was beloved.
In a website post titled "A Letter to Our Fans," Vancouver Titans esports director Tim Holloway said the problems created by the COVID-19 pandemic were the driving force behind this untimely split. But rumors arose of player dissatisfaction prior to the pandemic. In a Kotaku article, anonymous sources close to the players alleged they weren't enjoying their new accommodations at the Adamas esports facility, and had struggled assimilating to a new country and culture, feeling the Titans had not helped smooth that process. There were also alleged issues with new signings Fisher and Ryu Jahong apparently earning substantially more money than the rest. In response, the Titans organization said the players themselves had approved their new living arrangements, and that the pay discrepancies weren't significant enough to cause an issue. But De Vera, head of Canucks esports team operations, also admitted Vancouver made some mistakes in not helping players adapt to a foreign country where they didn't speak the language. He said the Titans provided only a single translator who wasn't in place until months after the players arrived in North America. And according to reporting from Kotaku, the players were boycotting practice and potentially planning to simply not play their games while back in Korea.
I was told that they were being paid. They will not be paid for the remainder of their contracts, according to Fisher. That makes sense. If you read our story, we say that the players were going to boycott, or they were boycotting practice, and inferred to management, we will not play these games when they come up. That's a violation of contract.
Exactly.
Guess what's in their contract? That they have to practice, right? Like, they are legally obligated to practice. You void that contract, okay, later, right? Like, they don't owe you anything anymore.
There are, of course, two sides to every story, and managing an esports franchise through a global pandemic was undoubtedly tricky. Ultimately, whatever the details, the result remains. A close-knit, revered, and successful esports roster unceremoniously disbanded. 2 days after the big split, and on the eve of a league match, yes, the day before a game, it was announced the Titans had signed an entirely new set of players and coaches. The roster now consisted of players from North American contenders, including 5 former members of a team called Second Wind. A group that, although made up of solid players, frankly, couldn't hold a candle to the credentials, the experience, or the raw ability of their predecessors. The reformed Vancouver Titans lost their first 5 games, taking only a single map in the process. This alone was more defeats than the franchise had suffered throughout the entirety of the 2019 league season.
And the Washington Justice break the loss streak and get a win here, and it truly was, man, a baptism of fire for the Vancouver Titans.
It was an immediate drop in results, and it only got worse.
Unfortunately, Vancouver isn't able to get the eliminations they need now. They don't touch the point, and that's it. The series is over. It's a sweep.
As expected here, but, once again, we're constantly hoping for Titans to innovate. I don't think it was very much to be expected after Houston Outlaws dominated the Titans in similar fashion yesterday. This was a beatdown of legendary proportions. And, what a tragic comparison if you think back to the matches that these two teams had, in previous seasons, right? Like, these were, the two Titans of the Overwatch League clashing at the highest stakes moments.
Vancouver suffered another lengthy losing streak in the league, going 7 straight without a win. A hugely unsuccessful season left them 3rd from the bottom in the standings with a 6-15 record overall. Their postseason play-ins ended disappointingly as well, getting swept in the first game by a Washington Justice team who had only won 4 games in the league all year.
OT is here, the wrecking ball for Storm, but that should just be it. They only needed 33%. The Vancouver Titans are going to go down and out as the Justice claim victory, a 3-0, and we will see them in the next round.
And to add insult to injury, the defeat was at the hands of 2 former Titans.
It's kind of very strange to see this Vancouver lineup going against this Washington team. Of course, this Washington team now comprised of Janu and Stitch, who are former Vancouver too, so a little bit of a clash here as far as the organizations go.
At this point in the previous season, the Titans were preparing for an exciting playoff run off the back of a formidable season. But within a year, the entire roster had been replaced, and the follow-up season was, in truth, a disaster. Unfortunately, no one came out a winner in this story. The original RunAway team felt mistreated and, in the end, parted ways with the Titans in unpleasant and unceremonious fashion. The franchise itself no doubt suffered financially through a challenging year, and the new roster struggled to find success after being thrown into the deep end. The journey may have ended for the original RunAway roster, but it's still early days for the Vancouver Titans as a franchise. The squad has since been strengthened by numerous players with Overwatch League experience, and with the benefit of a preseason for the players to gel, the Titans have laid the foundations for the team to prosper in the future.